In last week's video, we talked about the first step in moving from being bilingual to being able to do written translation, and that was learning to make detailed connections between the two languages so that the translation has fidelity or that it matches the original document. The second step relates to the second most important aspect of translation quality, which is readability. A translation needs to be readable in the other language. It needs to flow nicely and sound natural to a native speaker of that language. So step number 2 in becoming a translator is to learn how to arrange words naturally in the other language. So during this process, you have to move away from the tendency to translate word for word, what we call literal translation. You have to become comfortable with moving words and expressions around in sentences to make them flow better. For example, the equivalent of the next 3 days in French is literally the 3 next days. Now that's what sounds natural to a French speaker, so that's the way you have to do it in French. That's what they expect to see in a sentence. So a bilingual person who becomes a good translator learns to recognize and avoid language interference. Language interference happens when you're bilingual. It happens when you write something incorrectly because that's the way you would do it in the other language. So with time and training, you can overcome that impulse so that your translations will sound natural. So basically, step 2 for a bilingual to become a translator involves taking the freedom to move words around while translating. Sometimes just taking the end of a sentence, moving it to the beginning in the translation, can make it sound more natural. Each language has its own character, and we need to work in harmony with that language character so that our translations have readability. Next week, we're going to talk about step 3 in becoming a translator.